This episode, along with hundreds of others from Caloroga Shark Media, is available without commercials. Just look for the banner on your Apple Podcast app to subscribe and try it free for a month.
Caloroga Shark Media.
Hello and welcome to Palace Intrigue. I am your host, Mark Francis. In the Telegraph, Petronella Wyatt writes under the headline, "I never thought I'd say this, but it's time to bring Prince Harry home." Per Wyatt, "I increasingly feel that the future of the royal family may depend on its ability to cheer the public, and what it lacks now is the requisite joyfulness. The Windsors are in a grave need of some pizzazz. Readers may succumb to the screaming abdabs, but the royal left standing who has the most star power is Harry. It is easy to blame him and his puerile book for their continuing rift with his father and brother, but some courtiers of my acquaintance hold William equally liable. Recently, I spoke to a former palace official who used to work for both princes before the good times stopped rolling. There is a public misconception about William and Harry, he told me. It is William who was often the difficult one, and it is William who is preventing his father from having a proper reconciliation with Harry. He continued, "This isn't helpful at a point in time when the country would be buoyed up by seeing them together again, as would the king." To many, Charles and William's continued coldness towards Harry is beginning to look inhuman. It is important to remember that the royal family is a microcosm for every family in Britain, and that a divided family, like a divided political family, has an intrinsic weakness. Harry and Meghan, moreover, are now reaching another tricky crossroad. Where now for two people who have absolutely no talent? The only thing they have is their titles, which is why Harry recently said he would like to step into a royal role while his father is recovering from cancer. He knows that there is only one job in which a moronic egomaniac will feel at home, and that is shaking hands with adoring people in the rain. By nature, I think the king would be reunion-friendly. According to royal sources, he comprehends that reconciliation is the best solution for both of them, and that everyone likes an MGM happy ending that would jerk tears from Caligula's eyes. The king is said to be very upset about the Nigeria trip. Royal commentator Tom Quinn told the Mirror, "William is absolutely furious and determined to find a way to stop this happening in the future. Charles is said to be angrier than anyone has ever seen him." What's really upset the apple cart is the fact that the Nigerians treated Meghan and Harry as if they too thought this was an official tour. All the signs were there as the couple were greeted with dances, receptions, visits to schools and charities. His Majesty is likely to be even more upset. A source described as close to the Sussexes tells the Mirror, "The Duke and Duchess have other trips planned for the remainder of the year. They are hoping to be able to share more details in the coming weeks. It is definitely possible they could return to Africa for more tours after that." Royal insider Deep Crown observed, "Harry needs to come to terms with the reality that his father, the king, has every right to cut him off when he continually acts against the monarch's wishes. Charles learned from his mother and what it means to be a sovereign, and William understands this too. Harry should grasp this concept, but he chooses not to. As for Meghan, it's painfully clear that she will pursue her own ambitions, no matter the cost to her husband or his family." A former royal staffer told the Daily Beast, "Overseas visits might look like jollies, but they are actually a matter of foreign policy. They are about promoting the UK and building diplomatic and trade alliances on behalf of the government. Harry and Meghan have different priorities because they are no longer working royals, but of course the vast majority of the world is ignorant of such distinctions and regard Harry and Meghan as every bit as representative of the royal family as William and Charles. So if these rival foreign tours become a regular thing, it could muddy the waters. The reason they went to Nigeria was to promote Invictus, the Paralympic-style event Harry set up, and themselves. That's not what the royal tours are about. Be in no doubt, Harry and Meghan being freelance royals is the stuff of nightmares for the palace. It's exactly what the late Queen Elizabeth wanted to avoid." As many of Harry's decisions seem to be driven by money, perhaps he should consider staying close to Dad. As the latest edition of the Sunday Times Rich List reveals, King Charles' personal wealth has experienced a significant increase, reaching an impressive $672 million according to new analysis. The analysis also highlights that Charles is considerably wealthier than his late mother, whose wealth was estimated at $462 million in 2022. Upon her death, Charles inherited private estates Sandringham in Norfolk and Balmoral in Aberdeenshire, which previously belonged to the Queen. These properties are said to account for a substantial portion of his financial fortune. The Sunday Times assesses the sovereign's wealth by considering only personal assets, excluding the Crown Estate, the Duchy of Lancaster, and the Crown Jewels, which are held in trust by the King for the nation. As the Prince of Wales, Charles received a private income around $28.75 million a year from the Duchy of Cornwall, which was used in part for non-official expenditure for himself and his family, as well as for the official cost of personal staff, his office, and official residences. In the latest edition of the Rich List, Charles ranks 258th amongst the UK's 350 wealthiest people and families, up from 263rd place in 2023. Palace Intrigue will be right back. Royal columnist Maureen Callaghan had an interesting observation about the recent Met Gala. Callaghan tells GB News, Vogue did an incredible write-up right before the gala of a dinner that Gwyneth Paltrow hosted at her Montecito estate, so a neighbour of Harry and Meghan. It was a Goop collaboration, and among her guests were Oprah Winfrey and Ted Sarandos. So here's Meghan attempting to get her little lifestyle brand off the ground, and Goop is clearly a model for her. Oprah, who conducted that very first bombshell interview that aired all over the world, and Ted Sarandos, who cut those two a check for a reported $100 million and since cancelled their docuseries, has given Meghan a dubious cooking show. They're on the guest list at Gwyneth Paltrow's Montecito estate, and Meghan Markle is not there. The Vogue write-up had all these little winks and nods of shade thrown her way. They called Montecito, quote unquote, the American Riviera. It was all just little daggers sheathed in there. It was great, and it's further proof to any doubtful Briton that we here in America see Meghan Markle for exactly who she is. And there you have it. If you'd like to email us, our address is thepalaceintrigue@gmail.com. Please follow us on Spotify, Apple, or your app of choice. Hit those 5 stars if you like the show, or write us a review. And you can now get this show, along with hundreds of others from Caloroga Shark Media, commercial-free as an Apple subscriber. It's free for the first month and $4.99 a month after that. But give it a try for free. You also get the special bonus Sunday episode of Deep Crown. I'm Mark Francis. My thanks to John McDermott. This is Palace Intrigue, and good times.